my extremely shitty record, this video is supposed to say and or be uh, antifa are not terrorists, or the anti-fascists are not terrorists, and as well as it was supposed to say advice for kids on the right and left ring. Advice for kids on the right and left ring. I don't think I posted that, but basically this is my advice for Generation Doom and why Antifa are not terrorists. Now, I would like to say this. And a really good example of what you call becoming a good guy in a wrestling ring, but this was political. It was a Republican. He was actually a really great guy, anyone that knew him in real life. And the entire thing was a thing to have free speech. So he would invite all kinds of liberal communists usually, but sometimes right-wing people on his show. Yeah, he would pretend to be against them, and he would say, "I'm throwing you out of here," and he would have the the security throw him out, and he would invite Satanists and everybody else. So in other words, in order to give someone like me a platform, he would invite me on his show, and it was on cable access somewhere in California, and he originated the concept of trash television. And no, I wasn't picking my nose. There's something on the end of it. God damn, you know that. Anyways, point is, in California, I think it was Anaheim or somewhere, Anaheim, wherever you say it, somewhere in Orange County. And one of the guys he had in his show was a Nazi, and I've talked about him before. I'm not going to mention him. You know who he is. And they did this thing where it flipped it around, and it was the greatest wrestling psychology in the world. But he told the truth. Everything he said was true. As far as foreign policy and economic class, and how poor people get screwed over, and how we screwed over Latin America, we screwed over Mexico, we screwed over the Middle East, we screwed over the third world, and it's a lot more true now than it was back then. And I mean, we have done a real number on this country and on the world. And he talked about all of that, and I feel sorry for the Republican guy because, like I said, the entire thing, even though he really was a Republican and everything, he was a lot like one of the guys that helped set up Woodstock back in the 60s. He did it because he believed in free speech, and he was just playing party line. He was kind of like I guess a survival artist almost. But the point is, either way, regardless, the Nazi had these guys who were supposed to be SS security. So he had these two, I'm guessing younger guys. They didn't look too young, but who the hell knows? And they looked like shit. I would have had them wearing like black. I mean, they were wearing brown shirt. But I mean, I love the SS. I love the. I don't love them. I mean, they were assholes. But compared to the SS, I like the SA Street Fighters. But their clothing was not as good. Hugo Boss designed those fucking uniforms. He did a pretty good job on those. But the point is, they threw him out. But the entire thing was he told the truth. And you would say he was a terrorist, but the guy has never been violent. He never hurt anyone. I'm not saying who he is because I'm not promoting him. I'm not supporting him. I have and I won't again. It's wrong and he's wrong, even though I love listening to him. I'm not saying support the guy. Just like we all know who he is, so I can say his name, Malcolm X. I like Malcolm X. I like Malcolm X a lot. I think he had a lot of good ideals for black people. I think Malcolm X was a very good person with a lot of intelligent ideals. I support Malcolm X. I support Che Guevara. I'm saying the name wrong, but I support a lot of communist leaders, black nationalist leaders. Malcolm X was a person I had a great deal of support for. I don't agree with everything they say. I'm basically a liberal. I'm a liberal. And I'm also kind of a product of my generation that was like your generation doom would be my baby brother or my, baby, like they're not, like I'm a little older. And I'm a product of my generation Y. And Generation Y was very liberal, and I'm very liberal. But these kids are not, and there's a very good reason for that. They're broke, they're fucking poor, they're watching themselves be shipped overseas to die in wars and have their legs and arms blown off. They watch their parents be blown up. They watch their older siblings be blown up. Some of them are on the streets. Some of them are poor. A lot of them were on drugs. They were medicated at an early age for mental disorders. Some of them didn't even have, and some of them did have it, but you over-medicated them. And then you had other kids who had other issues. You had gay kids, transgender. You have all this massive amount of issues, and we don't know all the truth about vaccines and things like that. and you just piled it on this generation, and they're very sad and very broken people with a lot of fucking problems, and they're younger than I am. Although I think in some ways, to an extent, I would fit a lot better among them than I do my generation. But they're younger than me. They're usually 26 and under. I'm getting on up there, but maybe even 24 and under. But they started, from my understanding of it, they started in '95. It's Generation Doom, and I say Generation Doom and not Generation Z. Although if you think about it, Z comes at the end of the alphabet, but they're Generation Doom, and they are doomed. You have a society that is falling apart, decayed, run by far older people that don't really care about them or their interests. And the sick thing about it is the really old people, you don't help old people. They're trying to screw them out of the Social Security. It's corporations, it's banks, it's people, the one world transnational corporations of the world, like Bush said, fucking them over. So how does this come back to Antifa? Well, the majority of Antifa are probably 26 or 24 or under. I'm not going until I'm getting older and I have no existence. And when you get my age and you don't have a life, you tend not to be very proud of yourself. But I'm 29. I'm a 29-year-old asshole in the middle of nowhere. They're 26 and under. So they're starting to see themselves become me, and they don't like that. And they're trying to push back and do any damn thing they can to keep it from happening. And it's not very easy. And here's the thing. They're kids. They're literal kids. Some of them have not even graduated high school if they haven't already dropped out. Many of them have, like I did. But they're in high school. These are kids. Like Tom Metzger was talking about. They're freaking kids. But you people, you put them on terrorist watch list. They're freaking kids. So a 20-year-old can fucking... Okay, let's say a 20-year-old kid bust out a window during a riot and stole some stupid TV and he ran off with it. He's a terrorist now. He can't even fly on a plane when he's 40. Does that make any sense? Does that sound just or right to anyone? That a stupid 20-year-old kid who might believe one thing now and he might be a Republican when he's 40, you don't know what the hell they're going to be. You don't know. You don't know what they believe. I don't find any of these kids ever believing that type of horse shit or trash, but maybe they become a Republican and they vote like you want them to. The point is, they made a mistake when they were 20. So they can't ever fly on a fucking plane again? That's crazy. And I think about all the dumb shit. I didn't really do anything by the time I was 20. I did when I was a teenager because I was dumb and I did a lot of dumb things. But being like a 20-year-old kid, I don't know how much dumb shit I did at that point. But the point is, a lot of 20-year-olds do a lot of dumb things, and you're really still a kid at that point. Maybe even not physically. A lot of these people are very small people, but some of them are bigger people. But a lot of them are smaller, but even then you're still mentally a kid, and they're kids in the mind. You're dealing with a 20-year-old kid still in college, and he throws like a what do they call them, a Holocaust mocktail or whatever the fuck at a cop because he's drunk or he's on drugs, and then you throw him in a fucking prison, and that's the end of his life. Antifa are not terrorists. These are not terrorist people. They can be rehabilitated. A lot of the kids in the Middle East are not terrorists. They can be rehabilitated. They just get sucked into something that seems good for them at the time, and like that. And you don't treat them that way, and you don't treat them with any respect. And again, I'm not defending terrorism or terrorists. I'm just saying a lot of these kids, they're the product of their time and their conditions. And a lot of these white and black and Mexicano or Hispanic people, Asian and Arab, Islamic, Muslim, Native American, and other people, and men and women, are a product of their time. Yeah, they should be rehabilitated in rehab, and we need to have tax dollars for rehabilitation. I probably need rehabilitation, but I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about people who are really at the threshold. I think wasn't there a song from? No, it was Hatebreed, Threshold, that they're just at the fucking breaking point, and there are kids out there like that who are a lot younger than me, and I'm talking about children, basically 20, 21, 22-year-old kids, and a lot of them are girls too. And they don't have any real chance at life or any real shot at life, and no one is doing anything to help them. And a lot of them have Asperger's, autism, and a lot of other conditions and issues, and some of them are gay, transgender, gender queer, all kinds of shit. They joined this group called Antifa. And I will say this about the right wing. On the right of the issue, there is another group, Adam Rothman. And obviously they're crazier, and I'm not really defending them, but a lot of them are also dumb kids. And they do something at a very early age, not really appreciating the consequences. And I don't think we should just totally throw them under the bus. A person can have a bad ideal or a bad thing wrong with them and get over it and be an outstanding, productive member of society. That has never happened for me and probably never will. But I'm saying they can, and a lot of these people are young kids. Some of them are guys that can't have sex. They don't know how to get a girl. I have always been that way in my life personally. Some of them are gay. Some of them are transgender. Some of them have gender dysphoria or gender dysphoric issues. Some of them are autistic or Asperger's. Some of them are from bad conditions, situations. Some of them are thrown out of their house. There's all kinds of fucking people that are usually 26 and under from 1995, beginning in 1995 up to now, and even past now. Generation Z, Generation Doom still hasn't even ended being born. It's very weird or absurd, but it hasn't even ended yet. Now, my thing is mainly, I'm not going to lie, I have Asperger's. And of course, I'm older than they are, but I have Asperger's, and that has caused me a lot of problems. So I know what it's like, and a lot of these kids have that problem for some reason. There was and I'm not going to speculate of why, but there was a spike in fucking Asperger's sometime in the 90s. But the point is, one of the things they can do, whether you're Antifa or Adam Rockman, to really help yourself, because politics seem pointless, because politics are pointless, and it's very hard to get these idiots to do anything you want, and they're just going to pick whatever corporate, whitewashed, rich politician they can find, and career prosecutors and fucking people that are war murderers, generals, and fucking people that kill people in other countries and everything else, and it's very hard to find a person you really can believe in. But one thing you really can do, and whenever you do it, it's a huge load off your shoulders, and it makes you breathe easy, you feel better, and that's video gaming. And I don't game much anymore, and that might be one reason I have such a fucked up brain. But when I was a young kid, I remember I would get a wrestling game. A lot of times I would go Renegade, but my favorite game to rent was SmackDown versus Raw. And it would be like, no matter what the hell was going on in my life, whatever issue I had at the time, as long as I was playing that fucking game, I was happy, or at least semi-happy, and I didn't need to do anything else, drink, bitch on the internet, or do anything. I just had my life because I had a video game in front of me that I really liked, and it had voiceover, and there was a scene where Tori Wilson leads the dude into the shower, and it was really fucking cool. So part of my advice to Antifa members, Generation Y, Generation Z, not Generation Y, we're mostly pussies, but Generation Z, Generation Doom, they need to play video games. That would help them a lot, and I know that's an insult to them, and they probably think I'm an asshole, but I'm telling you, if you haven't picked up gaming, trust my generation. This shit helps. It will help you a lot deal with your issues and mental issues. Even Pac-Man, just playing Pac-Man, it's like a huge source of stress release, or release of stress. And you know, it's just, don't go out into the streets and act like idiots and fuck around these other people. And if you get around any of the real communists or Nazis, they probably just kill you anyways. They're really not nice fucking people. So my advice is just, yeah, the police are murderers. I know our police are murderers, and we're murdering people in another country, and a lot of your friends and people are being sent home in boxes and blown up, and it's a lot like it was in the 60s and 70s with Vietnam and everything, and it's a lot like that. But I'm just saying, fuck them, don't listen to them. It's just like the rob my republic. You get out in the street and you can fight with the bastards. At the end of the day, if the guy with the funny mustache is going to come along, he's going to come along anyway. You can't stop him. So just you know, try to live your life and fuck them, fuck what they think, you know. P666.